Hi traders, I wanted to show you this chart. This is the Nikkei, and we've got completion of a head and shoulders pattern here and a bust to the upside. Basically what's happened is Japan's got elections coming up, and the opposition have come along and said they are prepared to do pretty much the same as the Fed. They're prepared to get an open checkbook and keep printing, keep writing checks, keep printing money until they re-inflate the Japanese economy. They had a diabolical, very extended period of deflation, and it's crippling their economy, really hurting them. And the yen has been very strong, used as a carry trade, and they just want to put a stop to that. They want to create inflation so they can get to the point to where they need to put rates up, and so they can get a healthy economy again. So on the back of that, the Nikkei shot up, which is why there was a confusion for certainly my part in the markets yesterday when I was trying to go long the Dow, and it was just dropping through key levels. At the same time that the euro was holding up and the oil was holding up. So that sort of explains what's going on, really. Any sort of manipulation of the markets like that can create a lot of problems. If you can see, there's a trend line coming right the way through this. When we start popping out of this and may get some kind of recovery, but we're basically in a huge box. But this little piece of news has certainly shot it up into resistance areas. Do I think that can pull through? I guess as we get close to the elections, if the opposition win, yeah, we might see a bust up. If you look at the fibs here, this is the fibs on the 2012 price action. Let me just take that trend line out there. So we get back above 9,000, and we could finish the year quite well. But obviously there's a lot going on. We need a good resolution of the fiscal cliff. There's no guarantee the fiscal cliff is going to be resolved, or certainly the ceiling lifted, and so on. There's a lot of cyclical issues. There's a lot of other tax issues coming up with the US, which could damage that economy, and that is critical. So if we just have a quick look at the dailies, it's a pretty flat day. It's options expiry tomorrow, so surprise, surprise, these markets have. I did do a couple of trades on the Dow into the open. Took it up to 12,600 and just took it off. But it's decent support down here. We are RSI, but let's just get options expiry out of the way. I think this extended from the ATMA, which is up here. I think this ATMA will come down. We'll come into test it, and we could see lower levels. And then perhaps in another week or two, if we find ourselves down at one of these support levels, then maybe we can put in some kind of reversal. But I certainly think we do need some kind of bounce, but with options expiry tomorrow, we're closing at roughly the 12.5 level, which is, I would guess, on options expiry level. The euro options expiry is said to be 127.50, so 127.75 as we go into Friday, and the Aussie is said to be 103, and we are 103.30. This was a nice move. Topped out in this fib area and bottomed out so far on the 200 EMA and the bottom of the fib zone, so a nice technical move. It's been very resilient up till now. So as for tomorrow, I would just keep your powder dry. If you're in any trades, then manage your stops and sit tight. That has got me interested. The pound Swissy at 150. Keep an eye on that. There is a potential head and shoulders here, and that's the neckline. So we start breaking above 150 next week, and we could make a return to some of these levels up here. 153, 155. Pound Aussie dollar is off of this stopping bar on the gap to the 8 RSI. We've had a couple of moves up. Also, you've got a lower resistance up here. Test of 154.50, and short term, I would expect that to resume on a downtrend. But I think if we come back and retest this area here, if we pop up, fade the 50 and the 200, and hold down here, I would start to look to get to buy here to see if we can then come out of this apex and move back to the upside and finish the year closer to 160. Yeah, the FTSE, that's a nice little move on the back of, we're just holding the bottom of that fib zone. Sorry, the top of the fib zone, I should say. Let me tie this chart up. Just holding the top of the fib zone. If we go into the weekend, if we break this, then I think we're going to see these low levels. So I don't think, if we close higher into the fib zone, close above 5700 tomorrow, makes it slightly different to call. But I think the same with the Dow. I think this ATMA will come across. We'll go to test it, possibly go and test the 200, and then come down and see these lower levels. And then at that stage, we need to reevaluate. So I would be very interested in looking. Keep an eye on that 57.30, and what's the level in the Dow? That would be 12,720 is the potential resistance area now for that one. And oil, that's a little choppy. Came off in, I think came off the pit open, sold back down to this crucial 85 level, close to the 85 level, and then just narrowly closing around the fib zone. So we're in quite a tight box here, or even tighter than that. So whichever way we come out of that box, I would expect that kind of move, that depth of move. So that would put it at 84. Looking at about a 300 point move. So if I'm right about the Dow, and we do a come up here and roll over, then I would expect to come down to the 80 level. I'm not looking for a bottom in these markets at the moment. So that is all I've got for you. Let's see how we close on Friday. I'm just going to go into the stocks now, so if you're not interested in stocks, then I bid you farewell and see you soon. Okay, let's start with Vodafone, and this is the low of the gap bar. So we breached the high, did a partial gap close into this area of resistance, but we are 2 days of selling, but we've not broken this level here. I mean, you've got to say, I think engulfed the range of the gap bar and kept closing lower. This is not looking good, but this is a decent level of support down here. if you're interested in buying this stock, I would just sit very, very tight and let these markets settle down a bit. If we saw a close above here tomorrow at 163, I would start to get interested. If we can close down here and then close above, but basically I see us moving in this range maybe all next week. I think we might flap around here and at some stage break one way or the other on Vodafone. Standard Chartered is holding up, so that's range bound. If we can start to close above this 15, that could get interesting. BG has a hammer. We are very extended down here. Let's see if we can close above it. And we come down to 10. Let's just see if we can start to close above it. It has a broker recommendation for 14, but I mean those broker recommendations mean nothing. Don't get distracted by those. A lot of those brokers are fundamentalists and not technical analysts. What the market's prepared to pay for stock and what the brokers recommend are two different things very often. But let's just see if we can close above this hammer. Tesco's succumbed to market pressure. There's a little reversal bar under there, under the 50 EMA there. Can't quite make it out on this scale. We need to start holding at least 315. Otherwise, Tesco's basically broken this trend line now. So if we can't hold this area here, we're going to retest this support, and who knows, we could even come right down to this trend line. These markets are very fragile, very, very fragile. There's a lot to get through the pipeline. The back end of this year, early next. So be very, very. It's the shorts that are working at the moment, not the longs. BT is doing okay. We're holding the 50 EMA, have a higher close, so sit tight. And Sainsbury's is a nice short. I mean, now since we've broken this 345, we are coming down nice and hard. I would start to look at it at around about the 320 level, which would be about 50% of this move. M&S, that's a very weak close as well. I wouldn't mind betting we're going to come down to 340. Sometimes when you get these spikes down here, they act as markers. I wouldn't be at all surprised if in the coming weeks if that gets down to 340. Marks is under a lot of pressure from other partners in the high street, other competitors I should say, not partners. Sage down to support, but I think it's still got further to go. The resolution's come off, and this is a gap here. So they come right back down to this area here. I would do nothing with this and wait and see if we can come down and test this area here. If we start to hold down here, I would get very interested. Otherwise, I would not do anything with that. I certainly wouldn't start buying that up. Vedanta is weak. That looks as if that could drop. Let's get to some more UK stocks. Cairn is just dropping out as well. This will create some buying opportunities, but this is not the time to start looking for bargains now. You're catching a falling knife. Just draw a knife. Don't catch a falling knife. Afrin's come off. Now Howden, I think this could be the next one for a drop. We start to break this level here, and I would expect this to come potentially all the way down here. Closely related to the building sector. They sell kitchens, etc. to the trade. First group week. Fenner. Ocado. So Ocado is interesting. This is what typically happens. That something will drop, consolidate, move sideways, and then hit a high, hit resistance, and then do another drop. With the consolidation, looks as if we're over on this side now. I think we're due another leg down now. So we break 60, and we could at least come down to these levels here for the next way down. So if I put an order in for a break of the low of today's bar, stop just above it, and let's see if we can wind our way down on Ocado. Premier Foods, not doing anything, just waiting for that. Let's just see how far these stocks can drop. Circle, just drifting, and that's it for now. I'll look at the US stocks tomorrow. Okay, that's all, and see you.